Our second Feh Channel for August is here as promised, and this one is teasing our Choose Your Legends 4 winners as well as some upcoming updates. We'll be going over everything that was covered, and I'll give my brief thoughts on this pretty exciting Feh Channel. First, we got a very brief look at our CYL 4 winners, and they didn't reveal their full hand just yet. We do have a decent amount of info to work with though, and we got the artwork and class type reveals for everyone. For brave Lysithea, she's dressed up in a Grimoire outfit from 3 houses with some slight changes from the usual in-game model. We got to see her base kit skills, and she is still a red infantry mage. For the maximum amount of meme potential, Lysithea gets her Dark Spikes spell. This was her main reason for being so popular because Dark Spikes is a spell effective against cavalry units, and due to Lysithea's personal ability, she could learn it early enough to use it on the very scary Death Knight in 3 houses early game. All we can see from the teaser is that it is effective against cavalry units, but we'll have to wait for its full abilities. Now for stats, assuming nothing changes, it seems like we might be moving into Generation 5 base stats. Lysithea has 168 BST, but we can assume she's getting +3 to probably her speed stat from her tome, so that would put her at 165 BST. That is 3 points above the usual 162 base stats for a infantry mage. Unsurprisingly, Lysithea is gonna have great base attack and speed, and she mirrors her original form already in Feh. For skills, she has Moonbow for his special, attack and speed push 4, low speed and res, and hone speed 4, a full-blown glass cannon setup, and it's gonna be up to what other effects Dark Spikes gets to determine how unique she is gonna be as a mage. You can probably bet it's gonna be something about dealing more damage though, so I'm sure brave Lysithea is gonna be another powerhouse. Next is Claude, our second place winner for the men's division. While not exciting gameplay wise, our 3 houses leaders are all going to keep their main weapon types and class types. However, instead of getting their standard unique class that is their main outfit in the time skip, they are getting their second unique class that you promote them into in the endgame. Claude is here in his Flying Archer Barbarossa outfit, complete with his White Wyvern as well. Claude sneakily hides his base stats and kit during a transition in the video, so we only get a very brief look at what he's rocking. The image probably doesn't look great on video format, but we can make out that he has the Wind Parthia as his weapon. Now Parthia is a weapon from the Arcaneus series, but a couple of those legendary weapons do appear in 3 houses as rusted weapons, and they have to be forged with a very rare material to get the actual weapon. Our house leaders do not come with their heroes relics, but as we saw for legendary Edelgard, we can assume Claude and Dimitri are going to get Phalanx and Eredbar in their legendary ults eventually. Now for other skills, Claude has Moonbow plus Fury 4. It also looks like he has a Chill B skill, but it's very hard to see. His C skill appears to be a new one, so your guess is as good as mine, and it's most likely an inheritable skill because only the first place winners get unique passives. We do get some hints as to what Wind Parthia can do. It seems to be a slang weapon since Moonbow is on a 1 cooldown. Interestingly, Claude also seems to heal while proccing Moonbow, so perhaps they borrowed legendary Ephraim's B skill, which adds a healing effect when specials proc. Claude heals for quite a bit, so this might be a substantial amount, like over 50%, or it could heal for off of overkill damage, which would be really cool since that's a big weakness to the healing specials. This ability could also be tied to his unknown C skill, but again, we'll just have to wait and see for more info. For our first place winner of the women's division, we have Edelgard in her full Adrestian Emperor outfit. It seems like the Axe Lords of Fire Emblem are destined for 3 separate Axe armor ults in Feh, so Edelgard is just following in Hector's footsteps. Unfortunately for Edelgard and Dimitri, Intelligent Systems weren't willing to leak many details just yet. Thanks to Claude, we can assume Edelgard has the 3 houses version of Hauteclair, and from the short snippet of gameplay, I'm going to assume it gives Edelgard a follow-up attack, which has been the standard for her other versions. She doubles the Red Mage, while the Red Mage also doubles her, so someone has extra follow-ups at play here. The gameplay interaction is also really weird because Edelgard attacks first, but the Red Mage can counter back, so that mage would have close counter, which would be unusual. It could also mean Edelgard has distant counter of some kind, but if that were the case, then AD attacking first means she has Vantage. We can't really tell because the fight starts immediately with her proccing Noontime. Speaking of which, Noontime goes on a 1 cooldown after it activates, so we know her axe has a slang effect. From the still I have on screen, we can see the Red Mage's attack deals 1 damage, but in the battle preview, it should have dealt 4 damage. That means damage reduction is in play somehow, and going from 4 damage to 1 damage would require more than a 40% reduction, so oh boy, we could have another Brave Egg situation, but again, we just have to wait and see. As the first place winner, Edelgard should get a unique passive, so I'm definitely expecting something pretty unique. Last up is Brave Dimitri in his Great Lord attire. Again, we can expect Legendary Dimitri to also be an Infantry Lance unit later on, but as my personal favorite class type in this series, I won't complain about getting 2 of them. I actually didn't really care that much about the Great Lord in-game look and preferred the sleek black armor from his High Lord class, but that silver shine from the out-of-game artwork really catches my eye. Dimitri looks absolutely amazing here. Unlike Claude and Edelgard, Dimitri's lance doesn't seem to have a slang effect. It is most likely the Gradavis lance, which does have distant counter by default, and we do see Dimitri counter 2 ranged foes in that video. When attacked, Dimitri's 2 cooldown noontime becomes fully charged, so he could have a steady breath type skill or ability. In his second fight, he doesn't gain extra special cooldown charges on his second normal attack though, so it could be like Rinka's Club or the Huge Fan, which only grants special cooldown on enemy attacks. That Bocav could have guard though, so we don't know for sure. Besides this, we do know Dimitri attacks twice in both encounters, and while his current Feh form has built-in follow-ups, he might actually be fast instead. Like Edelgard, Dimitri also seems to have damage reduction. As you can see, the Bow Flyer's 7 damage is reduced to 5, and later on the Bocav's 10 damage gets reduced to 6 damage. That would match our 40% damage reduction from the close call skills, so it's possible Dimitri is rocking one of those skills with naturally high speed. From New Year's Soki, we have had these close call abilities that compare something other than speed though, so it's also possible Edelgard and Dimitri have something like that. Whatever the case may be, damage reduction abilities are always really annoying to deal with. I'm sure Brave Dimitri and Brave Edelgard are going to be both great units. If you didn't see the event schedule for August, CYL 4 is coming on the 18th, so only a couple more days to wait. We are getting the free pick like usual, but there is no 4-star focus unit that is to be expected, to be honest. However, Intelligent Systems is actually doing something quite cool to replace that feature. On the CYL 4 banner, the 40 summon spark mechanic can be used 4 times. That means you can get one of the winners after 40, 80, 120, and 160 summons. There is a slight catch though. You can only choose each winner 1 time, so you cannot get 4 free copies of the same unit from sparking. In total, you get to pick 1 winner like usual. Then for summoning and hitting those 40 summon marks, you can get 1 Dimitri, 1 Edelgard, 1 Claude, and 1 Lysithea. Still, that means if you really want a lot of merges of one unit, you can chase after that one color only and still get everyone on the banner at least 1 time. It is better to full summon all 5 orbs if you want to spend the least amount of orbs overall, but obviously if I want Dimitri only, my chances of getting him are 0 if I don't choose a blue orb. Now, we are getting a Forging Bonds event with this presumably with first summon tickets. That means it's only 135 orbs I believe to hit that first 40 summons if you full summon every time with some adjustments toward the end. You could get 2 copies of the same hero if you just want to get rid of their Bane stats. As a side note, the Choose Your Legends 2 free pick is going away for new players. If for some reason you haven't done it yet, better do it soon. It will be replaced by the CYL 4 characters in the future. To round up the CYL hype train, we have a rather strange Grand Hero battle. Last year we had Sigrun. This year we get George. If you're asking who the heck is this guy, then that's a fair question because this George is from Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn and is an NPC shopkeeper. Why is he here then? Well, he scored well enough to place 12th on the men's side. The fact that Joe has more total votes but still isn't in the game is really funny in a messed up sense, and it's also suspected that the reason George got so many votes out of seemingly nowhere is because somebody used bots. Whether that's true or not, we certainly have an interesting situation on our hands now. At the very least, George will be a somewhat unique Grand Hero battle unit. He's a blue infantry archer and has his own unique bow. It appears to have a slang effect, and George has some interesting stats with a lot of defensive bulk. In his special artwork, he even has a cameo with his brother Daniel. Despite the somewhat trolly CYL Grand Hero battle appearance, George may unironically be a great unit. I suppose it also keeps the dreams alive for a gatekeeper in Feh. George's Grand Hero battle will begin 1 day after the CYL banner drops. I will of course dive into more details once we know what his unique bow does. Following the CYL news, we got some game updates. We have a new event called Frontline Phalanx. I'll be honest, even with the explanation with graphics, I'm still confused on what exactly is going on here. It seems to be a non-combative event, so no fighting with your units. However, it has player cooperation aspects like the Voting Gauntlet, Allegiance Battles, or Rooker Sieges sort of. There seems to be a boss enemy and players have to work together by contributing forces to battle. I'm not sure if you can only support one of the characters on screen or maybe you can pick and choose. When you support someone, their damage multiplier goes up, but the chances of success go down. The higher the risk, the higher the damage multiplier, and it looks like the rates are kinda not amazing for anything over 3 or 4 times multipliers. I believe there are timed rounds, but I have no idea how long they're gonna last. There is an item called the Guardian Shield, and from what was said, it sounded like it guarantees your attack always succeeds, but I'm not 100% confident on that. You only get a limited amount for the event, so perhaps the mode is reliant on effective usage of those shields. From the results screen, there is something called the Skaldborg, which just further confused me, and it seems like the more people that contribute, the more damage or score you will get. Again, I really didn't fully grasp what this mode is about. Suppose it's like a blend of the Lost Lore AFK mode, but you have player cooperation as well. I guess you just have to check back in every so often to spend your forces, kinda like the voting gauntlet ballots. Anywho, we'll see how this mode ends up being. Moving on to more tangible topics, we are getting an increase to the Dragonflower limit. This would partially explain the Gen 5 BST stats, since now you can add 5 more Dragonflowers to all your units. The Gen 1 units that could use 10 Dragonflowers before can now use up to 15 total. Everyone else who only had 5 can now get plus 10. It was stated that all units after and including these CYL 4 heroes will only be able to use 5 Dragonflowers. Basically, we're just moving the goalposts for everyone here. In terms of cost, it doesn't seem like it will continue off from where it previously was, which is good. I believe once you tread into the new limits, the cost once again resets back to 40 and works its way back up to 200 for that last Dragonflower. This is what the normal cost is for plus 5 Dragonflower users currently, and that is 600 Dragonflowers total. Overall, not really a surprise, gotta keep the power creep going. Something that was a genuine surprise was that we can now change a hero's boons or banes, assets or flaws, IVs, whatever you want to call them. You will be able to pick and choose the boon you want for any unit, including reward units like Grand Hero Battle or Tempest Trials units. It even includes former units who come with a neutral nature, so yeah, they definitely made buying that former item a lot more enticing. As you can see, it's a pretty simple pick and choose system. Obviously, unmerged heroes are still going to have the Bane stat, but with the +1 merge, that should disappear. Kinda a small detail, but Bane stats do still affect which stat gets increased first from merges or Dragonflowers. I don't know if that will be in play here, but if you have to choose a Bane stat, then that is something to keep in mind. It could affect a unit stats on the fly. Of course, this process isn't going to be free, nor is it going to be cheap. You will need trait fruits to change a trait, aka boons, banes, IVs, natures, etc. You need 100 trait fruits for one transaction, and you can get these from Arena, Resonant Battles, Mjolnir Strike, and Forging Bonds. My guess is that these things are going to be rare. I would be very surprised if you could get more than 100 in a month's time, but who knows, maybe they won't be so stingy with them. I would definitely treat these like Heroic Grails or Divine Dew. The good news is that by participating in the first Frontline Phalanx event, you can get 100 trait fruit right off the bat. This guarantees you can change one unit's traits, so use it wisely. The fact that Grand Hero Battle and Tempest Trials units can now utilize boons is insane. I would definitely focus using trait fruits for any of those merge projects you have, and it can make some units much more enticing depending on whatever build you have in mind. For example, a Daros with 35 speed versus 32 speed is pretty interesting. Some reward units have obvious boons to chase, like Aversa wants that extra HP to proc her tome better, or any of the speedier swordsmen may want the extra speed to compete with their summonable counterparts. It's something no one talked about before because, well, reward units are always neutral nature, but they do exist. I'm very impressed with this feature. I can't believe it's actually happening. That's it for now. The CYL 4 tease just makes me want to know more, and I'm so excited for trait fruits. I'll be back to talk more about our 3 houses winners when their stats and skills are fully known. Let me know what you think about this Feh channel in the comments. We got a lot of exciting things to discuss in the near future, so I'll see you guys next time.